Hi everybody, Tom Page here from Rearlinger Fly Shop, Grass Valley, California. Today I'm going to be tying up a Skwala stonefly. It's going to hopefully look like this guy when I'm done. I got a TMC 200R already in the vise. I got peacock herl wrapped for an egg sac, and I'm going to add on a tail, and this is a small round black rubber leg. It's roughly cut to 1.25 inches long. I'm going to tie it on right here on the top of the hook. All right. Next thing I'm going to do is add on a piece of black foam. It's 2mm black foam. It's roughly cut at 1/8 of an inch. And I'm going to just kind of nip off the corners to give it kind of a rounded wing look. Want that foam to sit back just about 1/8 of an inch past the bend of the hook there. All right. Next thing I'm going to do is grab this yarn here that's dyed perfectly for the matching of our Skwala stones here. I dyed this here at the shop. It's a poly yarn, and it matches great to the stoneflies here in Northern California on the lower Yuba River. Alright, I'm going to take my thread roughly about 3/4 of the way up the hook shank, and I'm going to start tying in my yarn. And now when I tie this on, I'm going to actually kind of overlap each wrap on top of each other. This yarn lays down pretty flat, and it helps kind of create a tapered body if I do it that way, overlapping it like that. Tie that off at the 3/4 spot. Grab your yarn or your foam, and I'm going to pull it kind of tight forward and tie that guy off there. Trim that foam off. Really secure that down. And then for this overwing, I'm using from Hairline Dubbing. It's Compare Done Hair Dyed Done. Works good for the wing cases or the wing. Make sure you clear out all that under fur and the shorter hair. And you want to stack this so your tips are nice and even. As you can see, I'm not using a whole lot, just a sparse little clump. Don't want it too thick. And what I'm going to do is have this sitting back just past this foam wing here that I put on, and it's going to sit roughly 1/8 of an inch to 3/6 of an inch past the foam. I'm gonna hold on to that tight so it doesn't spin or twist on me or flare out too far. I'm gonna take my thread going inside the butt section of this hair, so that way it's nice and secure and locked down tight. And then I'm gonna grab all those pieces going forward. Trim those out of the way. There's a few nubs that are in there, but that kind of helps secure that down a little bit better. All right, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my yarn and pull it right over. I want to pull that hair, that conveyor done hair, kind of tight, pinch it nice and tight, and then wrap your yarn right over top of that. What that does is draw it in so it's not flared out. You don't want it to flare out too much. If it does a little bit, it's no big deal, but try to get it to where it's not so flared out. Okay, so I'm going to take my thread back just where that yarn and thread come together at, and I'm going to take another little section of the same 2mm foam, cut the same width as the other, and I'm going to lay this right on top here. Actually, I'm not going to lay it, I'm going to tie it in right there, but I'm going to take and cut it to where there's just a little point on the front of that. I'm going to lay that down right here. I use the matching color thread so that way I can do what I'm doing right now, is going back over top of that yarn that I've already added on there. So now I'm going to take that foam and fold it back. I kind of pull it snug. I don't want it too bulky. And you don't want to tie that thread too tight, because what it'll do is cut through that foam, and you don't want to do that. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is shorten that up just a little bit. And as you can see, it lays down that overwing nice, so it's not sticking straight up. Stoneflies don't have their wings don't stick straight up in the air or tent shape or anything like that. They lay flat on the body of the fly. Next thing I'm going to do is grab some of this orange Parapost, basically a poly yarn. This is the parapost. This stuff makes it's a good sighter is all this is really used for, is to be able to see the fly a little bit easier from a distance. These stone flies, when they're in the water, they actually look like a little stick floating down the river rather than a bug. They're really hard to identify at times. I'm going to put that right in the bend there where you tighten your foam. Get a couple of good solid wraps on that. And I'm going to take my small black rubber legs. These are roughly cut at 1 1/4 inches long. And it's really important to make these, that you're going to have one on both sides of this fly. You want to make sure that they're the same exact size. If they're not, they'll be out of balance and your fly will sit funny in the water. It'll kind of sit cockeyed. And you don't want that to happen. I'm not pulling too hard on this, just kind of snug. I don't want to cut through those rubber legs with the thread. Alright. Now I'm going to go ahead and whip finish it, and I'm going to whip finish it right where that thread wrap is, right there. Gonna have to move those real rubber legs out of the way. You don't want to trap them. Trim down this, make sure my rubber legs are not going to get cut by. So I'm going to take the parapost and trim that soap down. I don't want it super tall, just where I can see it. And I'm going to make sure that those legs are adjusted to where I want them. And they are. Now if you wanted to, you can take some head cement and put a dab of head cement right here, just to kind of secure those legs, but they shouldn't go anywhere. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed the video, and good luck. Have a good one.